Let's get into today's video. I am going to go through the foolproof way of cooking a steak at home. It's exactly like what we do in the restaurant. I've got, how many things I've got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The most controversial and important bit of kit, I'd say, is the old probe. This eradicates so many variables out of cooking a steak. So everyone goes, get the steak out at room temperature for half an hour. Put it in a pan for this amount of time, rest it for that amount of time, yada, 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 yada. Well, if your room temperature today is 20 degrees, and when you last cooked a steak in the summer it was 30 degrees, that's a variable. If your fridge was colder in the summer because it's working harder than it is today because they're not working as strong, the meat could be up to a different temperature. So many variables. So the probe enables us to stay consistent. We've got a lovely rump heart, so it's a rump heart steak, so it's took from the center of the rump. Like some rump steaks, obviously with it being off the hind quarter, has several different muscle groups in there, whereas this one's singular. So essentially, it's a bit like a fillet steak, one muscle group, tiny little bit of sinew, a little bit of fat on the top to render down, nice and thick, around 8 ounces. From your butchers, it's gonna cost you no more than I'd say a £5. So it's really accessible for at home. It's not the most expensive steak in the world, but if we apply this technique to a fillet, to a ribeye, to a T-bone, to a tomahawk, to a picanha, then we should and will get the same results. I believe that all steaks should be treated and cooked differently, but if you're someone that just loves a medium rare bit of steak, this will help. As in the restaurant, like a ribeye, I actually prefer it more medium, helps render the fat down. We get a lot better crust and flavour on the outside of the steak. A fillet obviously wouldn't take that far because it has no fat content, doesn't lend itself to be cooked for a long while, can dry out very fast. So again, like a rare to medium rare there. Rump, we like to serve it medium rare to medium. It is a little bit of a tougher cut of meat, but if we treat it right, we follow these steps, you'll have a great bit of meat for your dinner. It's easy to do, and the trick is the probe. So what we're aiming to do is we're going to sear this steak off. I've got the oven on. We'll pop her in the oven for a couple of minutes as well. We like to oven roast our steaks as well. We'll sear it really hard in our cast iron pans. Heavy bottom pan at home, it's not a problem. We're going to take that internal temperature to 46 degrees. All that heat and all that energy coming from that pan and the oven is going to transfer. Once we remove the steak at 46 degrees, that is then going to reach a level of 56, maybe a little bit below, which will be the perfect medium rare steak for us. A little bit of oil on it, always oil on the steak, never in the pan, because all you need is that much oil that's on your steak. We're going to season it heavily. Gonna get that nice crust on. We're gonna finish with a little bit of garlic, a little bit of rosemary, a little bit of butter. You don't have to, it's just what we do. Sea salt, one side. You should go quite heavy with the salt because you will lose quite a bit of it in the pan. What I'm gonna do is, because we want to render down this little bit of fat as well, I'm gonna start it by just holding it with the tongs and render that little bit of fat down. You can see our pan is roasting hot. We've just got this on the solid top. A good thick bottom pan at home is great. Trying to render that down. You want to keep as much heat in the pan as possible. The less fiddling about that we're going to do, the better that the steak's going to become. So you can see starting to get colour on that already. We're rendering that fat down because unrendered fat isn't nice to eat. So we're going straight in the pan, still sizzling away, a little bit of a press. It's not going to push any juices or anything like that out of the steak. It's just so we're coming in contact fully with that pan. We'll give it 30 seconds to a minute, and then we'll have a look, see if we've got the desired caramelization, and then we'll flip the steak, give it a little move around, and then we'll go into the oven. So really easy, really simple. You want your extraction on pretty high. See, we're starting to get that nice golden colour. Leave it there, give it a bit longer. And always the trick with steaks is to rest them. You've heard it a million times, you've seen it on a million different shows, rest the steak. For me, If I was eating at home, I'd rather rest my steak longer and make my sauce a little warmer. So when the sauce goes over the steak, that'll warm the steak back through. You can always give it another sear, absolutely fine. So we've got a nice golden crust on that. We're gonna flip her over, do the next side. So that little weight is just giving us even caramelization. And that's exactly what we want. Consistency, even, perfect. Genuinely speaking, in the restaurant, we tend to use the oven once we've seared the steak off. It's just something I've always done. It's not something that you always have to do. Sear it off, give it a touch. I just think, personally, it gives us rounder heat. So once we've seared off and we're on a tray, the oven's surrounding it with heat, whereas when we're in a pan, it's very top and bottom, obviously. So that's the reason why I put it in the oven. Not everyone puts it in the oven. I think it works better in the oven. See how we've got a nice crust, even all over. Give her a probe. So you see we're at 24 degrees now. So really, we need this steak to come up 20 degrees and then we need to leave it to rest. If I was to carry this on now in the pan, with the pan being so hot, we can overchar the outside, get quite a bitter flavour, which we don't want. We want to get all that fond off the bottom of the pan. We want to make the pan work for us with some flavours. So a little bit of rosemary off the garden. We're going to crack a little bit of garlic, butter in there, and we're going to come off the heat because we don't want that butter to melt. This is purely for flavour. So all we're going to do is caramelise that down. So we got nice brown butter, which is just adding layers of flavour to your steak. We use salted butter, fresh rosemary, bit of garlic. We're just going to nappe, chefs call it nappe, essentially just going to baste. So we're going to go over the steak, place this down the tray. We can go into the pan, but again, the pan's red hot. We don't want that butter to burn too much. Now this is going to go into the oven for around 3 or 4 minutes on 180. Just a low heat, a relatively low heat. You don't want it too hot. We're going to bring that core temperature up to 43 to 46 degrees. And we're going to leave it to rest. That temperature then, that residual heat, all that energy is going to keep transferring through the steak. We're going to reach the low to mid 50s and then we'll carve and eat. Beautiful. We'll start with 3 minutes, choose what it takes, and then we'll go from there. If it needs a minute longer, we'll have a minute longer. What we'll do is halfway through the timer, bring the steak out, we'll give it a little flipperoonie, just because that'll be warmer than the air in the oven. Just turn her over. Again, just want that heat to be consistent and even. That's what we're aiming for. So we've got a minute left on the timer, and then we'll check the internal temperature, and then we'll leave it to rest. Probing into the middle of the steak, we've got about 8 degrees to go. So 1 more minute. It's always worth setting your timer a little bit short because we can always add more time. Can't take it away. So we took the steak out of the oven. We've hit about 46 degrees. We're going to leave it to rest now. I'm just going to leave it on this tray. It's a nice warm space. Again, obviously we're not going to have to stand here for 10 minutes and keep turning the steak. Just leave it in a warm place. Let's use up all this caramelized brown butter, your crispy rosemary. I'm just going to leave it on the garlic and the rosemary because surprisingly that flavour will transfer to the steak. So it's just lifted up a bit. We're going to leave it in a warm place and forget about it for 10-15 minutes. Now we've rested the steak for a minute. What we do in the restaurant is some nice aged beef fat. Just dress that over the steak just a touch. Don't have to do that at home, it's a bit excessive, but for now we'll do it. Just 1 more roll in that caramelised butter and then we'll carve. That is a nice medium rare steak. Beautiful. Let's not waste this butter as well. If you've got this and you're doing some veggies, dress your veggies in this or dip your steak in it, that's banging flavour. Beautiful. That concludes cooking with the steak. Give it a go. Again, if you like your steak a little bit more done, take it higher. A little less done, take it lower until you find that sweet spot. And that temperature will always be that temperature. If you want to take it to 38 and you find that's your temperature, leave it there. That's your steak, how you prefer it. If your wife, your partner, your kids prefer it a little bit More done, take it to more the 50s. And just give it a go, let us know what you think. Let us know if it helped you. Hit that like, subscribe, notification, all that other jargon that comes with YouTube. Thank you very much.